Salutations, sheeple, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Sunplex0, and the year 2024 has been a shit show, to say the absolute least about it. Over the course of this year, I've had a lot of ideas for my YouTube channel that I've had to scrap, simply because I didn't have the time, because I was dealing with this shit show of a year. So I thought, hey, why not make a video about all the videos I didn't make? So if you're interested in that kind of thing, go ahead and sit back, relax, while I tell you about the videos that I didn't make and why I didn't make them. To be fair, a lot of them share very similar reasons. I lost interest in the topic, so if that's all you wanted to hear, I understand. Have a good day. But I would still like to talk about them even a little bit. So I currently have a video in the works continuing on with my series talking about the people who have been canceled in 2024. But for now, let's get into the video ideas I had that I scrapped this year. So I tried to keep this list in about as chronological order as I could. It's probably not in chronological order, but I do remember that the very first video ideas I had for the beginning of the year, we're going to mash these together into one. It was basically going to be me reviewing Avatar: The Last Airbender and people's issues with it, as well as the Madam Web movie and how bad that sucked. Starting with the Madam Web movie, to be honest, I just didn't feel like subjecting myself to that shithole of a plot. What little I've learned about that plot has been against my will. And from what I did here, I'm fully convinced that a lot of that script was written by AI, and I wanted to go in, watch the movie, examine the script and the people who made the movie, and prove that theory. But as a Spider-Man fan, I genuinely could not bear the thought of being subjected to such butchering. Maybe I might in the future, but too much stuff has happened this year and I could not deal with that mental weight. The Avatar: Last Airbender live action remake is combined into here for the same reason. I knew that the live action project was cooked the second that I heard that the writers stepped away from the project. And I heard something about characters that are vital to the plot not being there, something about Sokka not being a misogynist and not having his character arc where he learns to drink respect women juice. Avatar: The Last Airbender is an amazing show, an amazing piece of media. Very few topics that I can think of that were covered in Avatar: The Last Airbender have aged like milk. A lot of lessons that characters learn in the show, there's still good lessons for kids to learn. Although, to be fair, as a kid, I didn't really realize I was learning lessons while watching the show. And I'm sure a lot of kids miss the intricate details that made up that show and what made the characters good characters. But yeah, I loved that show. And I still love that show. And I'm gonna confess something to you guys really quick. When I was a kid, I used to pretend while I was in the bathtub or taking a shower that I was a waterbender. And I would watch the water roll off of my skin or splash the water around trying to replicate waterbending moves. And sometimes I still do that. And what the fuck are you gonna do about it? Nothing, because I bet you still do it too. Anyways, moving on. The next one is for my subscribers who are here because I make costumes. How I made my Aisha from Winx Club costume. I don't really have an excuse for why I didn't make this video. I will eventually use the footage I recorded for that video in one big mega video. Frankly, it was just because I didn't get the type of B-roll that I wanted, and that costume is very glittery to the point where I had glitter in my armpits and other places where the sun does not shine. So that particular costume has been put into a backpack and has not seen the light of day ever since. So I will be making a completely different one. Thank you very much. The next scrapped video technically hasn't been scrapped. I do still plan to do this, but this is something that will likely take a very long time for a variety of reasons. Essentially, the title of the video was going to be, I'm concerned for young men. This is complicated to explain without spoiling the video that I have planned, and especially since I haven't started proper research into this particular topic, which turns into a bunch of different threads of topics. But I have thoughts and opinions related to how a lot of potential people for younger men to look up to are not good examples for a variety of reasons, but there aren't exactly many options, especially seeing as a lot of people that younger men on the internet can potentially look up to are making money off of a certain societal circumstance or certain sets of societal circumstances revolving men and younger men and their emotions and societal expectations and a lot of different things, and it perpetuates a certain cycle. This is something that is very difficult to get into. This is just my observation from being on the internet as long as I have, especially being a person who was born biologically female and who has had a lot of male friends over the course of their life. I will go into further detail about this in the future, but there are a lot of moving parts, a lot of nuance, a lot of potential roots for the issue I wish to speak about, let alone I'm not even sure if this is something I even have the right to speak on, but I don't see many other people doing it. But I wish to, and I hope to maybe start a conversation about this too. I don't know, but I am concerned, and that is all I will say for now. Moving on to a significantly lighter topic, training for the IRL Hunters exam. Some of my viewers who watch anime will already kind of know what I'm talking about, but for those of you who aren't aware, there is this amazing anime that you should watch called Hunter x Hunter or Hunter x Hunter, depending on who you are. Very long story short, there is an exam that you can take to be a hunter, and it is based off of your abilities, whether or not you pass this or not. And then, of course, it has anime superpowers and all that fun stuff. It's difficult for me to explain. I haven't watched the anime in like 4 years, and my memory lasts 2 seconds. So sorry about that. But it's a very iconic anime. And of course, this is a very iconic event. And recently, somebody has decided that they're going to try and host one in real life. And I was like, oh, this sounds so cool. I would love to like keep record of myself as I train to try and be good enough to compete in this exam. Because I know for a fact currently I cannot walk up a flight of stairs without losing breath. But I thought that'll be fun because I'm like, oh wait, I need to exercise anyway. And then also I thought it'll be a fun little video series in general. But after discussing it with my creative team, we realized that it doesn't necessarily fit my brand, and the potential audience that I would attract isn't an audience that I could see wanting to stick around. But yeah, that was a fun little idea while it lasted. Also, I just don't really feel like traveling to Washington, D.C. Next topic. I just have written down here Minecraft YouTubers. So much stuff has happened with those guys over the last year. And like, this is a topic where at the time where it was relevant, it probably would have gotten me a lot of views and maybe some followers off of that too. But frankly, it was just too complicated of a topic, and I did not have time to look into everything properly. There were a bunch of allegations going around, and as somebody who aims to have some level of journalistic integrity, I couldn't really cover it properly. Plus, some of y'all Minecraft YouTuber fans are really quick to anger for literally no reason, and I did not want to interact with that. I'm not calling out any specific audience because I don't know specific audiences. I just know that some of y'all are crazy. Just like I know like K-pop fans are crazy, but I'm not sure which K-pop fans. I'm not sure if it's all of you guys or if it's like the BTS girlies or the New Jeans girlies. Like, I don't know. Moving on. This is something that would have been more of a series, and I still haven't fleshed out exactly what I want to do with it, but it is something I would still like to do. Basically, video journaling myself, learning to 3D model, and learning to code. I didn't really have time to do that this year, unfortunately. These are skills that I would very much like to develop. I just thought that this would be something really fun to basically replicate what I'm doing with my costumes. Eventually, what I have in mind when it comes to developing these skills that I'm interested in is being able to look back on them in a few years and be like, oh my gosh, I've come so far. Here's proof that it takes a bit of practice, and here's proof that experts in certain things also had the same struggles that you did. At least that's the goal. I don't know if I'll ever reach that point at any of the skills I plan to develop, but it is a nice thought. Now, this next one's a little bit ironic, seeing as I have done this type of video that I am planning to bash. How Reddit stories are contributing to the lack of ability to understand nuance is what I have written down. Very long story short, I have been watching Reddit YouTubers share stories of people from Reddit for maybe since 2020. So it was very interesting as somebody who's chronically online, watching people who aren't on Reddit and who would normally not seek out this type of content be exposed to this type of content more often, particularly on TikTok. I noticed a trend, which I do believe is related to what I believe is the most popular subreddit outside of the Reddit community, r/am-I-the-asshole, where basically you have 4 options for what you could be when you tell a story. You could be the asshole, you could not be the asshole, everybody could suck in the situation, or nobody could suck in the situation. But very often the stories that went viral was a very clear cut, you are the asshole or you are not the asshole. Those other 2 options were very rarely mentioned or brought up, which is understandable. people typically lean more towards drama and gravitate towards those type of things. So of course, those type of stories will get spread around a lot more. However, with that, and maybe it's just because my algorithm has been getting weird and wonky, or it got weird and wonky. I'm not entirely certain. I haven't had the chance to look into it yet as much as I wish to. I do feel like with the rise of this content, there was also a rise of, if you are not on the same page as me for a particular thing, you are a bad and terrible person. And this applies to being fans of certain social media influencers, being fans of a certain show, liking a favorite color or liking particular artist, as well as some things that I'm not sure that I can mention here on YouTube, but I will say the political landscape in general. We'll just say that for now. The internet seems to have become more, if you're not with me, then you're against me. And for a lot of topics, I feel like that is not a very healthy outlook to have on the world, especially since so many people are taking unserious topics so seriously. But this isn't really something I have time to go into detail about right now. This is a video topic that I would still like to do in the future, but there are other things that pique my interest a little bit more right now. And also, to be frank, I'm not entirely sure how to start researching this particular topic. This also links into dying media literacy, but this is also a topic that I do feel has to be researched a bit more, because media literacy is very different in everybody's eyes, and also people can interpret things differently. And all the talks about media literacy, I've only seen one person talk about this, and they were actually the ones who brought this to my attention, which completely changes so many different aspects of what I would even think about to research for it. According to the National Literacy Institute, 21% of adults in the US are illiterate, or at least that was the statistics in 2022. The person that brought this to my attention was an amazing content creator by the name of Lucky Lefty. I'm not sure exactly what number of people that is, but that is a lot of people. That is nearly 1/4 of the millions, the hundreds of millions of people that we have living here in the US. And there is a variety of reasons as to why they may be illiterate. And in the conversations that I have heard surrounding the lack of media literacy, once again, I've only heard one person talk about this. And there are certainly other people talking about it, but at least in my feeds, it's not a common thing that's brought up. And I do wish to research this topic more and delve into it and see what is media literacy and what is actual lack of literacy, especially seeing as in the first place, there are not that many resources, from my understanding, to help adults become literate. It's something I haven't had the chance to properly look into, so I'm probably saying a lot of things wrong, but I am intrigued by it, and I would really like to research this topic and see what I can do to potentially be helpful, if that is possible. And then last thing I'll mention, people canceled in 2024. This is something that I will still kind of be doing, but on a way smaller scale. Originally, I planned one very long, very well-researched video, or multiple videos, all well-researched. And I came up with that idea beginning of November. So far, I've only finished and uploaded one of those videos, and the other one is currently in the editing queue, and I'm not sure when it will exit. Hopefully in a week. I have some, hopefully, quality upgrades to come for that, but the research for one specific topic and subject, Mama Max, for those of you who read my community notes, that took me 3 weeks. And there were a variety of reasons why it took me 3 weeks. I will not bore you guys with the details, but I originally thought that it was just going to take a week of time, but I wish to verify a lot of things that people were saying and not just regurgitate information if I could avoid doing that, especially seeing as the situation surrounding Mama Max was very interesting, to say the absolute least, about that. But I am a little bit bummed out about that because I thought that it would be a really fun thing to do. One of the first things that I said while starting that script about the people that were canceled in 2024 was that people were getting canceled constantly, and I was fully convinced that it was going to continue, and I was not proven wrong. Like, as of this script being written on December 19th, it's still going on. I don't remember who was the most recent victim of cancel culture. I think it might have been Madeline Pendleton. No, it was somebody defending Madeline Pendleton. for those of you who may know who she is. I don't feel like getting into it right now. But yeah, it's been a lot. It is currently December 20th, and I will not be surprised if there is another person who pops up while I am actively editing this video. Even if I manage to get this up in 2 days, there will be another person for one reason or another, and that's insane to me. I'll probably do like a smaller video where I, instead of doing research, I just regurgitate the gossip like the gossip girlies do. Maybe something like what that one YouTuber Swoop does, where she just gets into the cesspool and she's like, guys, did you hear about that shit that happened? Or like, guys, if you didn't hear about that shit that happened, here's the video of what happened. Isn't this fucking insane? But yeah, maybe something simple like that. Because something that I have learned about myself this year is that I love to gossip. Like, I'm not gonna go around like spilling other people's secrets, because that would be really fucked up of me to do. And also, I will only talk shit about people who need shit talked about them. If you just talk shit about people for no fucking reason, like that's actually weird of you. Oh, her hair looked weird? Well, your vibes are weird. Fucking weirdo. I'm not gonna talk shit about somebody's appearance. I will talk shit about their behavior if their behavior is worth talking shit about. So that's been fun to discover about myself this year. To round this all off, of course, I had like a bunch of different little video ideas for TikTok, a bunch more scrapped cause plans that I will probably do in the future, but who knows? But there's so many of those that I couldn't even possibly take the time to list and name them here. Overall, this year I've learned a lot about myself. I've learned a lot about the people who surround me. I'd like to think that I've learned and grown as a person. I have learned what my limitations may be. So hopefully one day in the future, I can work on pushing those limitations. There are obviously a lot of things that I'm still struggling with because I'm not perfect. But even though this year has been a shit show, and the next 4 will continue to be a shit show, if today alone fucking proves anything, my God, I think that it will be okay. Or at least I very much hope that it will be okay, because I still have a lot of learning and growing to do as a person that I would very much like to document and have other people follow me along on my journey and share their journeys with me. I don't know. I'm getting all nostalgic because the year is over, but I'm gonna leave this there. These are all the videos that I can recall wanting to work on in this past year of 2024, but didn't get around to for one reason or another. Was there anything here that I mentioned that you guys wish didn't get scrapped or delayed? Let me know, and maybe I could work on something similar. Somehow in the last year, I have gained 760 subscribers at the time of recording this, and I am truly grateful for that. So thank you guys so much for being here. So while I am making this channel to document my journey, my thoughts, and feelings on certain situations, if you guys want to be entertained by a certain thing, you guys are sparing me your time. The least I can do is spare my time in return. So if there's a particular video topic that you guys want to see, let me know. Even if it's something you think that I might not be interested in. One of my goals for next year is literally to try something that I'm not interested in, just because why not? If you've made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here and listening to me yap. I very much appreciate it. I hope to see you all in my next video, and of course into the next year as well. But in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.